or reason to it. That it doesn't matter what, what you feel or what you believe. What is that one thing? What is the right thing or situation that can allow it to happen? I mean, I have no idea. Is it a combination of things? Is it the right time and the right place? Is it something that happened in the past? I don't know. There's no answer to that. I don't see how we'll ever get any answers to those kind of things. But for me, we're still searching for certain things and looking into things, into my past, into, my lineage, because you have to look at everything. You have to, turn over every rock and look under everything. You have to explore every avenue to try to get some sort of answers and address everything. So, it's there's a lot that goes into this. It's not just what you see on the surface. It's not what you see on TV. It's not, like we said about these TV shows where, they feel like, they went to this place and they're possessed and now they need a priest to come and bless them. And it's not that short. It's not that easy. And once you have messed with this stuff, once you have, whether you invited it in or whether you didn't and something else happened, once they're around, it's a heck of a lot harder to get rid of them than it is to find them or for them to find you. It's a lot harder. It is not that easy. And most people think, okay, let's go get an exorcism, one and done. And it's also not that easy.
Yeah.
It's not. And
Go ahead.
From what I've researched, generally one exorcism is not enough. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people, think that that's a cure-all, and one exorcism is usually not enough, from what I understand. So
that's true. Back to your comment about why Satanists don't get possessed. It's because the devil already has them.
Exactly.
He wants what he can't have. So that's why he's going after these other things. And I have friends that were on that side, and I asked them that question. I said, well, why didn't you get possessed when you were on that side? And they said, because the devil already was using me to do the things that he wanted me to do. Yeah. He didn't have to possess me because I was doing it willingly. So,
and it leads you to the question, why? Like, why is there motivation to, of course it's to, to create negativity and to, to feed into that negativity, but is it to lash out at people who are trying to stop it? Is it because they're drawn to certain people for certain reasons? It's, there's so many things that, I mean, it could be any of those. It's, once you start to really think about it and really start to talk about the subject, there are so many doors that open, so many things that you wonder about. And it's like that you'd never think about if it's not discussed,
Right. So my question would be has there been anyone before you in your family that was ever possessed? Is it a generational curse? Is it going to happen to someone else in your family after this? These those are questions that, maybe nobody's ever brought up before. I don't know.
And we've actually studied that. Actually, that's one of the things that we have addressed. And no one has ever been possessed before me in my family. Nor have any of my children, nieces and nephews, and we have a big family. There are a lot of us.
Yeah, I know you.
Yeah, we do. But we have looked into some generational things, and I do believe that there is something to that. From some of the stuff that I remember as a child, and there's some of the stuff in the book as well. I don't really go into detail on, maybe it's something generational, but, there are some accounts in the book, some things that did happen that were, definitely maybe indicators that pointed to something like that. And I know that there are very sensitive people in my family. I do know that, and that goes back before me, way before me, way before my generation, even before my grandparents and great-grandparents. So is it something generational? I really think that that's part of it. I really do. I think that that has a part to play in it for sure. I think it may not be the catalyst in it, but it definitely lends itself to, I guess for it to be easier for this to happen, I guess. So, and that makes me think about, sometimes people are very quick to say, well, these things can't come in unless you invite them in. And there may be some truth to that. There's probably some truth to that statement, but if it is a generational thing, and if it is something that happened before I even have a memory of it, then that's not my invitation.
Right.
People think that you had to do something for this to happen. There's something that you did, or it's because your mind is not focused on, on the Lord. And that's why this is, this is continuing, things like that. Or you invited it at some point.
Right. That's why my mind went generational, that somebody invited it somewhere before you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So. And we tend to really lean toward that. And not only that, but when you're in the middle of this sort of thing, when you're in the midst of this happening, because it's not just happening to you, this affliction, this possession is not happening to just you. It's happening to everyone around you, to the people that are closest to you, even though these things do isolate you, and they're very good at isolation. They're really good at it. There are people in your life still around you that are going through this with you. And these things are smart. They're not, you see on the movies a lot where people challenge them. They challenge them, and, it's like, come after me, get me now, you coward. You see it on shows and even reenactments, and then something will happen, and it doesn't happen that way because they don't care. They don't care if you think they're a coward. They don't care if they play dirty. They are not.
They'll strike when you're down. They don't care if you're challenging it.
No. And they will hide, because that's what they do. They will hide because they don't care about making a show or frightening you in that way. They want to undermine things as best they can.
Right. And they're in control.
And they're dirty about it. They're just dirty about it. They have no timetable. They don't care how long it's been. They don't care if you're in public. They don't care who's around. None of that is of any consequence to them. So, people have preconceived ideas about, the demonic side of things and what they're like, and it's nothing like what people think it is. They're going to hit you in whatever way they can. And so as far as invitation goes, there are times when I've been asleep, like just before you fall asleep, in that state where you're almost asleep, but not quite. And your brain is starting to kind of, shut down. I have had these things come to me in between that and tell me to invite them in, and actually say these things to try to get me to invite them in, to try to get me to in the middle of that where you're very vulnerable. There have been times when they have affected people around me who were very close to me and who I care about and love. And you want to throw in the towel, and you want to say, and I'm not even going to say it now, but they want you to say things to invite them in. They want to break you to that point where you do this. So it's not always so easy to just say, well, it's not like people are not like I'm just going to say me. It's not like you're out performing rituals and calling on these things and opening up things for them to come through. It's not, it's very subtle. It's a very quiet thing. And it's just not at all what people would think it is. So, I guess before you can pass judgment for something like that, I think that people need to understand it better first, but before they can assume that the reason this is happening is because you did something, or you're living this way, or something's going on, because it's definitely not that simple. It's a lot more complicated than that.
Well, we got 2 minutes before our break, so I'm going to ask you one of the questions that I think that you can answer in 2 minutes, and this one's from Ron. He asks, where do you live now, and do you get followed wherever you go?
Well, I live in Savannah, Georgia right now. And because it's not a locational thing, you do get followed. I've moved 2 times since the first exorcism. So, I don't move to get away. I definitely don't move to run. There's no running. It is what it is. So because
there is no running.
No, there's no running. There's definitely not. You can't outrun things like this any more than you can outrun your problems. So, no, it's not something you can just move away from. In some cases, I'm sure it is, but in my case, unfortunately, it is not that easy.
Well, when we come back from the break, I am going to ask you the other questions that are in the chat. We've got about 4 that I know of, and there's some really good questions. So everybody, this is a 2-minute break. You guys, go do what you got to do, and I want you to get your questions ready because Cindy's got lots to say. And I'm not kidding. As you've heard, she's got lots to say. So if you want to get them answered, you better get the questions in there. So you're listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. We'll be back in a couple minutes.
You're listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk, only on Paranormal Experience Radio, broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
Welcome back to Paranormal Pride, and my guest tonight is Cindy Sauer. And if you guys don't know, she wrote this excellent book that you need to check out. It's called The Exorcism of Cindy Sauer, and it goes along with, in a lot more detail and a lot more factual, in fact, completely factual, then the haunting that she was